Fascinating, comprehensive story here. You've been looking into these relationships for 7 months. What are the most surprising things that you've found?
Oh my gosh, so many things. I think probably just on the surface, the fact that these relationships existed, there were sort of some generic references in the press to the run-up of the vote that hedge funds were looking at hiring pollsters to do some things. But the depth of these relationships in the days before the vote and on the day of the referendum really were pretty shocking to us. I mean, we had no idea that the people who were sort of curating the democratic conversation about the vote in those critical final days were on an undisclosed basis working for hedge funds who had major stakes in one side or the other, were also betting on how the market was moving based on polling data. I mean, you know, public opinion drove the pound throughout and drove some pretty key stocks as well ahead of the vote. And these secret relationships existed without anybody really knowing specifically what they were or the depths of those relationships.
Of course, the whole question about conflict of interest is a whole other subject. But talk me through this.
Sure.
What exactly were the differences in the services that the pollsters were sold? What did the pollsters sell to the hedge funds? And what were the advantages that they potentially offered?
Sure. Most critically, Manus, it was exit polling data on the day. So the hedge funds that bought exit polling data had the pollsters stream it to them throughout the day at regular intervals, usually every hour. And that sometimes was a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, depending on the fund and depending on the poll. But, you know, under UK law, it is a crime to publish exit poll data before 10 p.m. to the public or, quote, any section of the public. So that's not only critical market-moving information that they were being provided that's non-public information, but it's criminally defined under UK law as non-public information. So that's a really interesting predicament. You know, one of the major polling companies involved, YouGov, got word from its outside legal counsel that they could sort of probably stay within the bounds of this law if they provided their exit polling data to a single hedge fund versus a multi-client hedge fund. But we're not really sure sort of it's going to be up to people other than us to interpret how that shakes out and what it means. But obviously, we thought it was important enough that we spent a lot of time looking into these relationships and figuring it out.
Yes.